Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Exuma, a Korean horror movie from 2024 that stars Choi Min-sik and Kim Go-eun. It was directed by Jang Jae-hyun, who previously gave us two other horror films, The Priests from 2015 and Svaha, The Sixth Finger from 2019, both of which were pretty good, in my opinion. Now, as you probably know, we talk about a lot of Asian horror films around here, so Exuma piqued my interest. And on top of that, this movie has one of the highest box office results for a Korean film this year so far. So, renowned Korean shaman Hwa-rim, played by Kim Go-eun, and her protege, played by Lee Do-hyun, are enlisted by a wealthy Korean-American family to identify the mysterious illness of the family's newborn son. Hwa-rim uncovers the curse to be a grave's call, a vengeful ancestor's spirit haunting them, and the family's patriarch entrusts them to relocate the grave to appease the ancestor, his grandfather. Hwa-rim enlists colleagues, a Feng shui master, played by Choi Min-sik, and a mortician, played by Yoo Hae-jin. Now, one interesting thing about Exuma is that the story is presented in chapters. And at first I thought that this might be like a time jump type of movie where it might bounce around in between each chapters, but that's not the case here. The story flows pretty naturally in a linear fashion and is rather straightforward and easy to follow. Now, it actually opens in America, surprisingly, and Kim Go-eun's character has seemingly figured everything out and knows how to resolve this graves call situation. A plan of action commences, and our protagonists believe that they have the situation under control. Meanwhile, Choi Min-sik is using his own, Feng shui skills to quickly solve his own case, and then he teams up with Kim's team. But he quickly suspects that this is going to be a dangerous job due to the grave's specific location. And it was pretty fun to see some Feng shui represented because it's something that we do not see in American horror movies that often. Actually, I don't even see it that much in Asian horror movies, comparatively speaking. When you talk about their total output, this is still kind of a niche type theme. A little bit of a shame because I tend to appreciate unconventional elements in my movies, so if we saw more stuff like this, I would like it. In Exuma, Feng Shui is primarily focused on burial customs and locations of the graves. In fact, the entire film revolves around one particular burial site and the impact of its contents. And the level of focus on this particular concept does help to make Exuma somewhat memorable. Now, there is a mystery component related to why the coffin was buried in a particular way, who could have done it, and why they may have wanted to do it this way. So the pacing is a little bit deliberate as these things start to come out, but you know the crap is going to hit the fan at some point. And to this film's credit, though, there are some plot developments that I did not see coming. And they're the most entertaining parts of the movie. So I think the story here is actually pretty good. Performances are solid across the board. If you're a fan of Choi Min-sik or Kim Go-eun, both are reasons to watch this. I think the acting is well above your typical mainstream horror movie, so that's good. The horror elements are effective with good use of sound design. Even the shaman rituals are strongly conveyed. There's one during the opening half involving pigs and knives, very energetic in its presentation, and Kim Go-eun gives a dance that I would describe as violent. If there is such a thing as a violent dance, that would be it. It's a good scene. The scares themselves are on the creepy side. I mean, you see the spirit through reflections in windows and mirrors. It can possess people, even murder them, by physically coercing illness and self-harm. There are a few scenes where the spirit torments people while they're sleeping as well. Now, all of this so far sounds somewhat generic, doesn't it? And it is to a degree, especially some of the horror scenes during the opening half, but something happens near the midpoint that's pretty cool and unexpected. And I can't tell you what it is because that would be a spoiler, but what I will say is that I feel like the second half of the movie was even better than the first half because of this thing that happens right near the midpoint. And I quite enjoyed it. And this all leads to a finale that's quite satisfying. Now, this movie has received a good amount of online hype. So, you may be asking yourself, is Exuma like an instant classic of Asian horror? I'm not sure it is. I do not think it's in like the same stratosphere as fan favorites like The Wailing or Train to Busan. So I'm not really ready to give it that level of compliment after one viewing. If I were forced to give a specific reason for my opinion here, it would be that Exuma has a slightly generic vibe at times, especially during the opening half. And the best individual scenes in this movie are not quite as awesome as the best scenes in the aforementioned films. So it doesn't quite reach that stratospheric level. But it is very well made and entertaining. And I would say that it's a must-watch for fans of Asian horror. I think fans of Asian horror will find quite a bit to enjoy in this. But I would not go into this expecting like an all-time classic. It's currently available streaming on YouTube. And as always, I'll see you next time.